of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge.
Live from a bunker under the Federal Reserve, sitting on stacks of fiat currency, this is This Week in Conspiracy. My name is Justin.
And I'm Brad.
And over there on the ones and zeros is little SAGB. Yes. Durable. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew. Looking good with the woman bun on.
With your clip.
How was your week last week?
It's pretty good.
It was good. I'm sure it was probably good. You always have good weeks.
Yeah, I try.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, because I got to go to work every day, unlike some people.
I work every day.
Well, I'm not saying you. I'm saying people who are just.
Are you judging me? I work.
Well,
is that why I get 15 calls a week from you?
I mean, speaking of work, I think that's a damn good intro into this week's episode, too. Because we're going to talk about Build Back Better.
Build Back Better.
We're
For someone else.
going to talk about...
I stole that from
Yeah. We're going to talk about shortages. We're going to talk about what's to come. We're going to talk about I think it's the Yantian port in China, which like nobody's talking about. So you think like the oil shortage where dudes were putting like gas in like
plastic bags,
double bagging it, and it was like leaking out. Like this is going to be horrid when it finally hits us.
It's going to be a little bit, but it's going to hit us, I think, right at the right time when you start seeing snowflakes and
right about the time you're going to want to go out shopping
for Christmas,
asking Santa for things. He's going to have trouble getting them this year.
Yeah, it's going to be the
toilet paper 2.0.
2.0. Or what was the stupid red animal from Sesame Street?
Elmo.
Yeah, Elmo. This is
Tickle
worse,
me Elmo.
Tickle me Elmo. Remember that? People were like fist fighting in stores over it.
I remember walking by Tickle Me Elmo display when it first come out, and I'm like, that is the dumbest toy. If I'd have only known.
You'd have bought 20 of them.
I could have bought 20 of them, dude, and I'd have been like a multimillionaire right now.
Well, that year was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Cabbage Patch were big. They were fighting over that in the 80s, too. Similar to...
What was that movie with the Schwarzenegger? With our
Jingle All the Way.
I mean,
Jingle All the Way, yeah.
With one of our former listeners.
Well, I mean, I'm sure
he's
still
trying
listens.
to get that one.
It was the superhero guy with the red suit. It looked like
Jingle
Flash
All the
Gordon.
Way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Jingle All the Way. It was a movie.
He's fighting that...
And the guy from SNL was trying to take his wife. What was his... Oh, Hartman. His wife shot him because he was all on coke.
Yeah.
He was funny, too.
Yeah, he was.
Well, it was really funny. It was a shame.
That sucks.
All right. So
that was a downing moment.
Yeah.
I thought Ashley was already to cry.
He got really sad there.
Anything funny happened this week, you guys?
No, I don't think.
The Pirates won the game.
I had some
At
fun.
least one game.
Our game.
Pretty horrible, dude.
We talked about baseball last week.
Yeah. How our uncles almost fought Andy Van Slyke.
No. Andy Van Slyke would have got his ass whooped.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a fight. He would have jumped that fence. He would have got blasted in the face.
He would have got met with the 70s.
Yeah.
Street justice.
Yeah.
Warriors, come out and play.
Can you dig it?
That was such a great movie, dude.
It was a really bad, good movie. Like a really bad movie.
Like Escape from New York. Like,
yeah.
What was it do with the chainsaw hand?
Ash from the Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Ash. Yeah,
the living Evil Dead.
Yeah, that got big again here recently.
Yeah, I think they come out with a show on Netflix or something where.
And they're coming out with a game.
I remember having a game.
It was a great show. It was a great movie. Like when he tries to remember that chant to put the dead people back in their graves. He messes it. He's like,
Bruce
Sounds like
Campbell's
every time I
amazing.
talk. Bruce
Yeah.
Campbell.
I
that's
love
it.
him.
And he was in that stupid show with the
Burn Notice.
Yeah,
I
Burn
love
Notice.
Burn Notice, though.
this is my boomstick.
The only reason you like Burn Notice is because Bruce Campbell was in it.
And yeah, and then I saw him at a comic convention and got to sit and do a Q&A. He's really, I like him.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
He's
I've
down
heard
to
all his
earth.
shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And he retweeted me once.
He retweeted you.
He retweeted me once.
What did you tweet?
That was when that dude ate the face off of somebody down in Miami. And he said it used to be
Wow.
the face of homelessness. Now it's the home of facelessness. And he said that, and I quoted him, and he retweeted
that's
it. It was good.
Yeah, that is good. Well, that's about.
Well,
go ahead.
we've talked about that dude
Yeah,
that we've heard from other podcasts.
that was other vaccine.
Where that was, like a vaccine trial where they bring these homeless dudes in and they pump them with so much vaccine to see like what their maximum like
Level was.
Yeah, and that dude just went.
Well, I remember hearing a story of the police officer who had to shoot that guy. He's like, I just kept on shooting him.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't stop. Like, that guy has, like, major PTSD.
And what the crazy thing is, too, like, that was right around the time, like, The Walking Dead was getting big, and, like, we were all like,
Wasn't that
this is it.
Wasn't that funny? How, like, art always mimics, like, prior to that happening. It's all, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, we already talked about that last week. That TV show came out. They wrote it in 2018, and it's exactly the same thing that's happening now.
Utopia. Yeah. Well, I mean, look at anything, dude. It's all freaking.
They have to. It's like they have to put it out in front of your face.
Yeah, and then they can be like, when they're sitting at the pearly gates, like, we told these morons. I mean, we literally brought out 20 movies that year about zombie apocalypse.
Well, I don't think they go to the pearly gates. I think wherever they worship the.
Well, they all go to the pearly gates first.
Well,
right?
yes. Well, yeah.
But yeah, can you imagine? Like, I always hate zombie movies because there's not like the dude like me, who's like the prepper dude, and I'm like, wait a minute, is the neighbor trying to eat us? Oh, it's go time, baby! And like,
well, I used to watch The Walking Dead, and what irritated me was like, it's like on the timeline of the show, it's like months into this, like where they're fighting zombies like every day,
right?
And every time someone dies, they're all irrational. They're all like, I want to stay here and wait for him to come back alive and eat my face.
Yeah.
And if I'm like that Rick guy, I'm like, listen, you're going to get up and walk away from this dead body and we're all leaving, or I'm shooting you.
Well, the biggest problem is, that, I mean, the only time that like really bugged me was like the kids, dude. Like it'd be tough to like put down.
Yeah,
a kid.
but like the one guy's like brother is like they're like 40. He's like, I can't leave my brother.
My sister.
It's like
it's time to go. Like I'm putting Ashley down.
Yeah.
Why do I have to die?
Because you had a dolphin necklace or whatever. And it was time to go.
You're like the dude from Tremors.
You
who
wouldn't
has all the
run
guns.
from someone
Yeah,
else. Yeah.
I'd be like the dude from Tremors. Everybody would come to my basement. Everybody would come to the
You and
bunker.
Reba.
Yeah, me and Reba.
Yeah.
That's the one you're
So my
talking
wife's like Reba.
about? Yeah, shooting holes that like they come through the wall, you just blast the fall in the lead.
I can't think of his name.
I don't know. Reba was in it. That's all I knew.
I don't remember.
There's like
isn't it like Emilio
That was
Estevez in it?
No, it was
Wasn't he
Kevin
like-
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
3 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Shaking Bacon.
Yeah. But that
See,
was
30?
back. That was a young Reba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was what, 20
Relatively.
years ago.
Oh God, 30. It was
30.
in the 90s,
Yeah,
I think,
you're
if not
probably
the
right.
80s.
They're driving the second one. They're driving like remote control cars with bombs on them.
Yeah, I mean, after like the fourth one, like I was done, dude.
I was done after the first 20 minutes of the
But like, if there ever is a zombie apocalypse.
Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
Well, listen,
Mickey
I
O'Shea's.
started early on Mickey O'Shea. I'm hoping that it's like the original Dawn of the Dead.
The swirl.
Where they're just like shambling.
And then like stand up and the helicopter cuts their head off.
Yeah, well, no,
That's the second one.
that's the one they filmed over in Johnstown.
That's the one
or
I
in
love.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. That's my. Well, I think they filmed both of them over.
Dawn of the Dead, the original was in.
Dawn of the Dead. That's the one where the helicopter cuts its head off.
Well, that was in the one in the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Night of the Living Dead
That's
is the original black and white one.
Yeah.
Where
They're
the
coming
to get
guys
you,
in the house.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Coming to get you by.
And they still get trapped in the basement. I'm like, how would you get trapped in the house while all these animals are
Well,
walking like 2 miles?
no, if you got to rewatch it.
I don't.
You probably haven't watched it.
Yeah,
either.
I won't ever watch it.
The reason they get trapped in the basement is because they're hiding their little girl who was bit.
Should have just shot your kid.
Yeah, I do like when the truck explodes though. Like, but
I'm sorry.
I mean, honestly, like,
My favorite one of the second was because all those like hillbillies are out in the field and they're like, here they come.
well, yeah, there's like we just flew over Johnstown, and they're like, oh, the hillbillies are in the field, like cracking them.
Shoot them in the head.
Yeah. So I hope it's those ones and not
The
World War Z or 28 Days Later.
The
where
running
they
one.
Run.
Or
Yeah.
28 days later, they were filled with rage, and they were infected with rage and not like a zombie virus,
Right, because they made the monkeys watch all the evil things that we do.
like Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. Yeah. So
A Clockwork Monkey.
So we're hoping
monkey.
that the vaccine turns them into the Night of the Living Dead zombies.
Right. Yeah.
So that we don't have to run. Like we can just walk briskly and kill all our neighbors.
The whole thing is in the original ones, it was when there's no more room left in hell, the dead will walk the earth. It wasn't like a virus. It was just that sort of thing.
So pretty much what you're saying is
Right
we've
now.
killed like 50 million babies by abortion. So like they're running out of room down there.
Well, why would they be in
Jesus.
hell?
Wait, why?
No,
why
they're not in hell.
Oh,
But
all the
everybody
people
who
that killed
died
them,
and supported that is.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude, you took this. You had to go
Straight,
there.
I went straight there, dude.
Well, that brings us to what we talked about earlier. Tonight
Killing
before we
babies?
recorded. No.
We don't talk about killing babies.
You just talked about killing the
It's
daughter.
the Catholic Church. You want to get in that before we get into that?
Yeah, so we could do the maybe hero of the week?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Hero.
And I am going to finally say that the Catholic Church in America may be the hero of the week.
Yeah.
What did they do a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, they
They come out and said
they weren't going to give Eucharist to the people that, like, I guess they wasn't regular parishioners. It was basically political figures that are voting for or support abortion.
right. So you say Eucharist, like us non-Catholics say communion.
Communion, well, it's different. I mean, if I'm a Catholic, the difference between a Catholic and regular Christians is when you do the ritual of communion, you consider it a ritual. It's like to do the Last Supper again.
Right.
Okay? As a Catholic, we literally believe we're consuming the body
In the blood of
And the
Christ.
blood of Jesus
so do
Christ.
we.
And that sounds like a zombie.
But it's different. We assume that it's that. Like
Yeah, that's what we say with the blood of Christ and the.
they
body
say it,
of
but
Christ.
do you actually believe? Like, do you? Take
Yes,
it,
I believe that we are consuming.
Well, it's the same thing then.
Yeah,
But
but we don't call it the same. That's all I was saying.
oh, okay. But
you call it the
well, that's why people
Eucharist.
when they come to Catholic Mass,
ukulele.
Eucalyptus.
when they come, when people come to a Catholic Mass, they're like, "Oh, these guys, they just do all this ritual kneeling and standing." When you kneel and you stand during that part of the ceremony, because they believe that is actually Jesus. When he switches it, he switches that wafer into actual body of Jesus.
But what's that to do with kneeling and standing?
Because you are reverent to Jesus.
Oh, okay.
So you're kneeling in
All
front
right,
of
so you're
Jesus. That's
kneeling.
his.
You're not going to just stand
Okay.
up. You're not just going to sit down like with your shoulders down, like, oh, whatever, it's Jesus.
Oh, why are you getting so angry?
I'm not. I'm just
Why are you
saying.
attacking?
We're getting a class.
I'm just explaining to you what it
Learning
is.
something new every day.
Like,
baby.
you know, when you
This
walk-
week in conspiracy.
When you walk into a Catholic church and you kneel
Mhm.
before you sit down, people think you're kneeling to the altar. You're not kneeling to the altar. The tabernacle to the right of the altar is where, when they do communion,
Okay.
all the extra wafers that they blessed and made turn in the body
Right.
of Jesus, they stick in that
Tabernacle.
tabernacle. So you're genuflecting
Oh.
to Jesus inside that.
Okay.
So, like,
So that's why many people don't understand, because we just don't know. I don't want to say ritual because it's not a
it's
ritual.
not, well, sort of. But
It
yeah.
is, but it isn't. But like, if you're not Catholic, when you walk into a place like that, you're like, "What are these weirdos doing?"
Yeah.
And
It's
like,
a
we don't do
very-
that at our
and the
church.
Catholic
And I'm
Church-
sure you walk into our church, you'd be like,
Why don't
"These
you do it?
weirdos don't even kneel."
Well, sort of. But
Right.
it's the same mass, basically, when you go to another
Right.
church, other than certain things. But the
We
Catholics
don't diddle little boys though.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Catholics
Hopefully.
take the Eucharist very serious because, like, if you're non-Catholic, they do not want you taking it.
Yeah. Well, that's how if you're not, we do a lot of like, if you're not old enough to understand that Jesus died for you on the cross, you're not allowed to take
like
it.
You're not like second. My daughter just did it. Second grade is when you do to take your first communion because she understands. I mean, she's not 100% like reverent and understand everything, but she understands, the basis of it. But the Catholics take that very serious. Like if you don't go to church every Sunday, you're supposed to go to confession. To confess your sins, one, for you didn't go to church, you didn't represent the Sunday Mass, and two, whatever else you did.
Yeah.
But, I know like most people think, I'm not going to tell my sins to priest or preacher.
Yeah, because I talk directly to God.
Well, you can do that still too.
Yeah.
But I think the reason they made that up is it's like a ritual, so you think. But even if you just went to the Mass, like sat outside of it and thought of what you did, you can leave.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not a priest. They're going to tell me I'm wrong. But, like, it's to tell you, like, so you think, because how many people
think about the things that you did.
Yes, because most people are like, I talk to God. I was like, no, you don't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know. I actually asked a priest when because I went to a Catholic college, and I had a priest as one of my teachers. Two funny things happened to me up there. One, I said, I don't
touch your wiener.
He was too old.
One, and I had a family, a mom and a dad, so like they don't mess with me.
No, they don't want no mom and daddy.
One thing I said to him was like, look, I don't confess to another human being. I confess to Jesus. And he's like, oh, you don't have to, all the same thing. But one time, it was right after Hurricane Katrina, remember? And I said, and he was like, why? He asked the class, like, it was a faith and religion class. He was like, why do you think Hurricane Katrina happened? I raised my hand because I was like the adult in the room. I was 26. I'm dealing with like, everybody else like 18, 19. 20, yeah.
The oldest.
I'm like, maybe it was God punishing them dudes.
Yeah.
Whoa! You'd have thought like I just literally opened the gates of hell. He got so pissed at me. Wow. But I was like, listen, doesn't it make sense? Like he flooded the earth. He turned people into pillars of salt for just turning around after he said not to. I was like, New Orleans is the only place where they still like practice voodoo. I was like, and that was number one. I said, number two, they show their boobies for beads. Yeah. And like maybe he was just like, you know what? You're a little decadent and disgusting there. I'm going to go ahead and flood you.
I think if you would have said that to a priest 30 years ago, he'd be like, probably.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. Now, or he'd have been like George W. Bush did because it was black people.
Well,
oh yeah, I actually had a professor that said George Bush caused Hurricane Katrina, not the aftermath, not the whole screw up of the whole federal government or whatever. That he literally waved his hand and made Hurricane Katrina as if he was God.
Let me tell you something.
Did he cause like the cops to go in there and kick doors in, throw old ladies on tables and take their guns from them?
Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, that happens today in my neighborhood. No U.S. troops are coming into my house.
Here's my theory on the. I'll have something to say after that. But here's my theory on that whole thing. I don't think it was Bush's fault. Okay, we're off the religion now, but this is the.
No, it's good. It's all right.
I don't think it's Bush's
transitioning.
I had a couple other things to say about that, but we'll let it go. But the Bush thing, that wasn't his fault. Remember how, like, every year a hurricane was like fear porn central? This is the one. It's going to destroy everything. Your whole neighborhood's going to be gone. Board it up. Florida's done. The whole state of Florida's gone. So for 5 years they did that. So all these people are like, this is bullshit. I'm not leaving. I've left 100 times.
Right.
Nothing ever happened. And guess what? It happened.
Well, you got to remember, too, New Orleans is like built on a swamp.
Yeah, it was
like if you spit, they got to pump it out of there. Yeah. It's below sea level.
Yeah.
Right. So anytime a big rainstorm comes, like you got to pump it out.
Right.
Sorry that you wanted to live there. Like that's not my problem, dude.
Oh well.
I live in a nice temperate place where we don't get hit with hurricanes, we don't get tornadoes, we don't get, Minnesota sub-zero winters. We don't get 14 feet of snow like Colorado. Like, that's where I chose to live.
Well,
But I also wouldn't be pissed. Well,
born here.
but I left here.
No, you left here and came back.
He got maced in Paris. He is
Sucker.
a worldly man.
Yeah, I saw Paris.
He
I saw the Colosseum of Rome. I saw where the Colossus was.
would have a
in
Nazi
Rhodes.
flag on it.
Yeah. I saw where Colossus stood in Rhodes, Greece. I saw the waterfalls of Croatia, and I wanted to come back to Pennsylvania. Dude.
Every time we go on vacation, I drive back. We see that Pennsylvania, so I'm like, hey, we're back in America.
I honk the horn. Everybody gets mad. I'm like,
I look at my family and say, we're back in America, baby.
yeah, that's it.
But like what you said about the, well, that happened in New Orleans. They took everybody's guns.
Yeah.
And then after the Boston bombing,
No, they just went house to house.
went house to house.
Hey,
with
we're
machine guns.
coming in. We don't care if
And
you're
pointing
standing on
yeah.
the porch drinking whiskey. We're coming in.
Yeah, they stuck guns in front, right in your wife's face.
Welcome to America.
And then when they caught them, everybody in town cheered as they left. That day, I died a little bit in my heart. I thought, what happened?
We've just lost America.
What happened to everybody?
Yeah.
Because could you imagine, like our grandfather?
Well, I mean, listen, America's done some pretty shitty things, like
every
like
country's ever-
slavery, whatever. That's horrible. We fixed it.
Listen,
We rounded up the Japs after
for
Pearl
concentration
Harbor and took all their property. We never gave it back to them.
no,
And you don't hear a single one of them dudes complaining about it.
well, it was wartime. I mean, it's a terrible thing, but
We didn't even do that to the Nazi, to the Germans in America. Like, my grandfather spoke German. Like, I've learned some really cool things.
Why are you looking at me as
He
if
was
he's not my
very
grandfather?
fluent.
because
He was fluent in German, right? So when he was over there, he was an engineer. He was a guard at a prison camp because he could interpret, right? So I remember there are two funny stories. One,
Stop it! You're making me feel like a Nazi. This
one
is
my uncle
heritage.
told me was when they were younger, when he was young before World War II, he tried to speak German at the dinner table, and like they freaked out. Or no, he wanted to take German in school, and they were like, "Forget it, don't take it, let it go." And then the other one was my dad standing on the front porch doing the Nazi salute, but not understanding like his dad was over there freaking killing Nazis.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Which I got some pretty cool stuff that my uncle brought, or my grandfather brought back. Nazi stuff.
Right.
Which means he probably smacked them around a little bit, took their stuff. Which I have another cool story. When I moved into my house, my neighbor across the street was named Peter, right? So I don't want to use his last name, but his wife still spoke German. So when we moved
Peter
in,
Creed from Die Hard.
yeah, that's what his wife would yell at him in German
Like
when I was there, and I was like, I don't know. Yeah, like here's the thing: you don't know if he's in trouble or if it's just them speaking, because like that's just a hateful language.
Yeah, it sounds rough.
Yeah,
very rough.
So he was in his 70s. So I worked second and third shift when he lived across the road. He was moving, so I'm like, hey, I'll help you pack your stuff because you're moving to Lancaster. So I would go over to his house and I'd help him pack his stuff, right? So one day, he was a suit tailor. He had this big, huge closet, like cedar-lined closet.
Ooh.
And he was a clockmaker, right? So he worked on like cuckoo clocks.
Oh, so he's Swiss.
No, he was German.
I'm sorry.
So
Same thing.
he told me one time, he was like, if you ever go to this town in Germany, tell me no Peter, and like they'll know you. You know, like they'll treat you good.
Well, now we gotta go.
So, but I don't remember.
Road trip.
I don't
Everybody's
remember.
goose stepping around.
Everybody.
So I'm packing his stuff up for him, and I unzip this suit bag, and it's a freaking Nazi uniform, dude.
Oh.
Right? And I'm like, Peter, come here, man. Because he
You
was
yelled at
like,
him angrily.
well, he told me, he said, go through this closet, throw it all out.
Well, after you unzipped it, you shot him in the head. Right?
Yeah.
And then you
Put him
buried
in
his
an
body,
oven.
and
He tried to
shot his
throw
leg.
me in the cat in the oven, like apt pupil.
Oh, that was a good book.
So anyway, I'm like, Peter, come here a minute. So I was like, he told me to throw everything out, but I was going through everything because he lived during the Depression. And
Well,
I
he
was
might
like,
have money stuffed in
did
there.
he have gold stuffed in there? Whatever. So, like, I unzipped this uniform, and it looked like it just came off,
Hugo
like
Boss.
the assembly, the
Hugo
Hugo Boss
Boss.
assembly line. So I'm like, I could tell it was a naval uniform. So I'm like, Peter, hey, come here a minute. So he comes down. I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? He's like, throw it out. And I'm like, listen, I get you want to get rid of it. Like, the Nazis did some nasty shit, but you fought for your country.
Right.
Like, you should consider being buried in it. Like,
Well,
Jesus.
but you
Look
still
at
fought
Brad.
for your country.
Yes, no, I understand. No, I get all that.
So me and him would have conversations. I said, what did you do?
He's
You
like,
know, because
I'm-
I just got out of the Marine Corps.
Right,
So I'm like,
he's trying to turn Brad.
Yeah. Now Brad's killing
nope.
hobos
I
and
said,
shit.
what did you do? He said, I was a radar operator on a U-boat. Right? Which is,
Yeah.
like,
That's
those
cool, yeah.
fuckers, like, crushed us.
Yeah.
So I said, I said, let me ask you something, because I just watched on the History Channel, you guys didn't get over here, like, into the United States waters. He goes, bullshit. He said, we used to surface in the port of New York and look at the lights of New York City at night. And I'm like, bullshit, because I just watched it. And he was like, no, for real. Like, we used to come over and, like, so he probably sunk shitloads of ships off the coast of New York.
And then you shot him, right?
Yeah, right? You fought for your country
No,
and
so
got
let
rid
me-
of... Oh.
So hold on.
Hey, did he know Admiral Byrd?
I don't know. So I asked him, I'm like, you know, he's like, listen, we got captured by the Americans. They took all of our stuff except for, like, our rations. We kept our uniforms, like, whatever. He said, then they turned us over to the Brits. He said, they beat us.
Oh,
They
they're trash.
stripped us. They took all of our food. They took everything from us. He said, and I'm sitting in the POW camp, and I'm like, if I ever get back to America, or if I get through this POW camp, he said, we're going to America, because any country that treats its POWs like this can't be as bad as they're telling us. So he come over here, became a citizen. He'd probably come over under paperclip and, like,
He's probably some mad
because
scientist.
I don't know what he did, like, for a living.
He was a tailor, man.
No, that's what he told me. But he could have, like, he probably into UFOs and stuff.
He
He was a radar
He
operator.
probably was close relation to Admiral Byrd.
Not Admiral Byrd. He was an American.
Yeah, but he knew that.
Probably, who was the Rocketeer?
Werner von
Braun.
Von
Von Braun. Okay. We're way off topic. We're
got-
27 minutes in and we're way off
We didn't
topic.
hit
Well, we talked
We
about
haven't hit-
Nazis.
We talked about Nazis, but we didn't talk. Well, actually, this could be a transition to the World Economic Forum
Oh,
and
Klaus Schwab.
Klaus Schwab, who sounds like a Nazi,
Ah, that
allegedly. So,
He's
okay.
worse than Punch Face.
Oh,
I don't
can't.
know.
No,
he just sounds like a really bad Bond villain.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Or like the guy from Lethal Weapon. I'm diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like him
Yeah.
a little bit too, I think.
So, but what I wanted to talk about today, because I have some notes written down. So we got the World Economic Forum, and they're talking about, 2030 you'll own nothing
Yeah.
and like it. They literally say that in one of their videos. You'll be happy
But
that you
people,
own
yes,
nothing.
they'll own nothing. They'll rent
Right.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
People will share vehicles.
You know,
But also, whoa,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Listen, this is 2 weeks in a row.
Hold on.
We're
That's all
talking.
you gotta say.
Okay.
Listen, we're talking about a group of West European countries that they don't value a lawn. We do. We're one of the only countries that acknowledge having a lawn. They say it's
A
a flex, a flex of having money, but other people stack themselves up in apartment buildings and live on top of each other. Americans are like, look at my lawn. It's useless, but to them it's useless. For us, we can, garden or whatever. But think of Middle America, the quintessential apple pie. You have a lawn.
Well,
These countries don't have lawns. They live on top of each other in these apartments and stuff,
Well-
and they shove 15,000 people in a
the size
shit
of, well,
bound
even
bag.
like England, the size of England's probably what? The size of like Texas, maybe a little bit bigger.
Maybe a little bit bigger.
It's a little bit bigger, and then
I don't
you got
know.
like Ireland's not much bigger.
No.
And then you got Spain's not very big.
No.
All these countries are big, and they have
And they
a lot of
have too many people.
They have large populations.
They have too many people.
But
they act as if having a lawn is a rich person idea. When, I mean, we're not rich.
Everybody has a lawn.
But in America, even the poor people can have a lawn when you have,
Shit, there's people who rent and have lawns.
Yeah.
Are you saying lawn or Mulan?
Milan.
Milan. Okay.
You understand what she understand what she's saying is that
we have space here.
right,
Yeah.
we have space and these
We
other
don't
countries
live on
don't.
top. Yeah.
Right.
Well, like when I was over in the Med, dude, like you live, like the roads are thinner, like nobody has cars.
Right.
Like you got to destroy America to build back better.
Well, like my buddy's on a trip across country right now. He's driving to the west coast and back.
The way you were pointing looked like a
Oh,
Nazi
sorry.
sign.
I was pointing.
Yeah.
But he's driving across country and like he'll send pictures and like he told like you get off the interstate and there's like dirt roads.
Yeah.
It's not like you get off I-99 where we live. You get off, there's a town.
Yeah.
Like you get off of some of these exits on these big interstates, you literally get off. There's dirt roads and farms everywhere.
Well, yeah.
I mean it's
middle America.
Yes, but these people in these big cities around here,
They don't get that.
they think we're jammed in. It's like you're jammed in because you're an idiot and you live in New York City.
Yeah.
If you go to Minnesota or Wisconsin or
Anywhere
South Dakota,
west of the Mississippi.
yeah, and it's more. Well, look at here. You could drive up north of northern Pennsylvania, and there's hundreds of thousands of acres of state game lands. Well, there's no one there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I've got lost up there and drove on a dirt road, and I ended up in New York
Oh,
for like
yeah.
an hour. For like an hour.
Yeah, I've had jobs up right up
Yeah.
near there.
But
yeah.
people don't realize there's other things than where you live.
Yeah. So
Like I always,
America's diverse and
I'm always like, is there anything other than like people with red hair?
you don't have
I'm
to
like,
worry.
more people than that.
Well, you don't have to worry because under Biden's new plan, he wants the U.S. government to own 30% of all land in the United States by 2030. And by 2050, he wants to own 50% of the land.
That's a lot of land.
Yeah, so,
How much do they own now, you think, with the state?
well,
lands and stuff?
west of
National.
the Mississippi, they own 70% of the land.
Right, with the
Everything.
national parks
Everything
and
they own,
everything.
they own 70% of the land east of, or west of the Mississippi. So they already own that.
Right.
That's why, Yellowstone, like all those
Yeah,
parks
yeah,
out there,
they're humongous.
all owned by the federal government.
Yosemite, Yellowstone, part of South Dakota.
But I got to thinking, so a couple weeks ago they had the G7, and the G7 agreed to put up $40 billion to third world countries for infrastructure, right? And I'm thinking to myself, so there's 7 countries standing here, 40 divided by 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, $5-6 billion a country.
Right.
That's our tax dollars.
Yeah.
That's the 40% of your paycheck that disappears.
Yeah.
We're going to give to Africa so they can build roads.
Well,
Or, Tunisia or not Taiwan, but like the Philippines. Like, that's your money. That's the money you go to work for every day. Your government is giving it away so that they can have a road. Where I live, they fixed they dug up a sewer line like 6 months ago, and there's still a bump because they didn't fix it right.
right. Well, the scary part is they'll give all that money to an African country, and then our government will send in people to go against it. So
if they don't pay their bill, they'll go kill them. Or drop
Yes.
bombs on brown people. Right?
Well, that kill brown people, or, to keep them fighting with each other so we can steal their resources.
Yeah.
But we'll
That's
waste
what
that.
it all boils down
Yeah,
to.
well, they'll waste their money to look good. We'll give them $5 billion, and then as soon as they don't do we want to come and take your lithium.
Oil. or
whatever.
lithium or diamonds or whatever.
Well, like this guy's a terrorist. This guy, all of a sudden his leaders.
All of a sudden that country in Africa is a terrorist.
Yeah, this guy, he's killing all his people and having molesting children, or whatever they use,
right,
to get you. And they're watch.
So like one of the largest money management funds in the world. Like Biden has a bunch of people who used to work for this company in his administration. It's called BlackRock. Which
I've heard of BlackRock.
Sounds like just like a bad TV show already. Like we gotta fight BlackRock, right?
Airwolf. Remember Airwolf?
Yeah, I remember Airwolf. So they own $7 trillion in assets around the world. So right now, they're going in, it just come out the other day, like last week or the week before, that they are buying up residential areas, farmland. So, the government's come out in the last 15 months and said you can't work because of COVID, can't go to work. So like these large, there's places where like large residential areas are like drying up. There's nothing there.
Nothing there.
So they're not only are they buying those up and putting them in their assets, they're paying 20 to 50% over asking price. So let's say like you and I who kept working during this whole thing, like maybe I want to get a bigger house. Well, I can't because a freaking investment firm
bought it.
Is bidding 20 to 50% over asking price. So you have to think, if they're buying it and owning it, they're not reselling it. It's going into their asset portfolio. What are they doing with that? They're renting it, right?
Yeah.
Build back better, which is the World Economic Forum is saying by 2030 you won't own anything. You'll rent everything. Somebody will own it. But it's freaking ridiculous.
Right. No, that's they want to own everything. Well, like you said, they started out with you can't work. So they start out you can't work, and then they say, hey, guess what? All these people aren't working because they can't. Let's pay them not to work.
Right. Let's pay them not to work.
Yeah, and then because it's just like they learn from welfare. If they set up welfare to. If they really wanted to help people, they'd set up welfare that you could go back and get a job, and then you only lose a quarter of your welfare.
Right.
Then you get a better job, and you lose half your welfare.
Right.
Then you move forward, and then you go off welfare.
Yeah.
But no, they say you make this much money. Guess what? You're done.
If you make $15,000 a year,
you're done. And then now you can't. Why would you get off? Like, why would I go work at McDonald's and try to start off somewhere or anywhere when I can just get free money for the year? That was all part of the system to set it up so they can just crush the American economy.
Yeah, because part of that Build Back Better is, like, like we said before, you want to you're not bringing the world up to our standard of living.
Mm-mm.
The only thing you can do is to bring us down to theirs. So how do you do that? You gotta kill the entrepreneur, the middle class entrepreneur, the business owner. So, everything is big, huge business. Like
Walmart.
Yeah, well, there's 4 major companies that own 80% of all meat production in America, dude. Well, that's like a monopoly.
Yeah.
Right. There's like Tyson. Well, 2 of the 4 are owned by foreign countries. So, like, we're really screwed.
Right.
Because now you're not even protecting our food sources here in our own country. But like one of the things that I looked at this week or last week was the Yantian port? I'm not sure how you say it. Over in China.
China, yeah.
So it's shut down due to COVID, right?
Yeah, it's probably going to run in the problems they're having there right now. They're going to run into our holiday season, I would assume.
Yeah. They're already saying that it's worse than the Suez Canal shutdown.
Right, and that was only, 6 or
7 days?
Yeah.
But, like, I tried to do some research to find what comes out of that port. I couldn't find like what products are shipped there, but what I did find was 60 to 80% of all world exports go through that port.
They're shutting down the world.
And they, yes, right.
That's Europe. It's the whole West. They're crushing the West.
So if you think about like, they shut down our pipeline for a week. Gas shot through the roof. They shut down the meat production for a week.
Meat's up.
Meat shot through the roof. What's going to happen when like 60 to 80% of the world's goods aren't coming where they need to be?
Right.
Like, it's going to be bad, dude.
It's going to be real bad. Like,
and I think I think you're right when you say, like, right around the time the snow starts falling, that we're go to Walmart now.
It's starting to be bare already.
Yeah, and go back in the toy section. There's nothing there. Like, my kids always drag me back there. There's nothing there.
Right.
Everything's empty.
Well, and those ship containers, they probably got 3 or 4 out or 5 out before this happened. So that'll probably get us through the summer. Because those things are humongous.
Yeah, well, what I saw was, I guess there's an east and a west portion of this port. That's how big it is.
Right, it's huge.
So, like, in the one, there's like 30% of the port is running. Right? But I think the other one is totally shut down.
And the scary thing is they didn't give a date when they're coming back.
No.
This could be a month. This could be 6 months. This could be 6 days. But they didn't say anything about it. It's just, we're shut down COVID. The D strain. Delta's running rampant in China now.
So, like, I wanted to bring this up because I thought, like, now, if you can find something, get it. Remember the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Go buy a couple extra,
don't
big
go
things
crazy.
Yeah,
buy
the
whole
just
store.
buy 1 or 2.
Just buy 1 or 2.
45 packs.
And then just store it and then buy your regular supply.
Right. I mean, if you have 90 rolls of toilet paper, I mean, even if each roll lasts you 3 days, that's 180 days of toilet paper.
Yeah.
It should last you like a week.
Right.
So that should be 90 weeks of toilet paper.
There's much more important things than wiping your ass. I mean, I could understand someone like ran on the meat market and bought every piece of meat there was in the store.
Right.
That made more sense.
I walked through the grocery store the other day.
It's bare.
Like the meat section.
It's getting low.
Like I buy a lot of that Nature's Promise stuff, like the organic or the chicken breasts that are actually the size that a chicken breast should be.
Yeah, like the chicken that falls over forward.
Yeah.
Frontwards when they stand up.
That was empty.
Yeah.
It was empty.
Yeah. Well, the scary thing is, like, stock market crash of, like, people are always like, oh, it's going to be like 08. I'm like, yeah, it might be like 08, but if it's like 1930 or 1929,
right.
Back in 29, I'd say like 70% of the population had farms.
Or at least we're growing
crops.
A good portion
like
of stuff.
Gardens, like giant gardens.
Well,
or food, like there was readily available meat.
Yeah.
And produce.
Well, I saw an article the other day, might have been a week or 2 ago, but they were saying it was like a meme or something, but it was like 40% of all fresh vegetables during the World War II came from Victory Gardens.
Victory Gardens around their house.
40% of our total fruits and vegetables came from Victory Gardens.
Yep.
Now, look around your neighborhood.
Mm-mm.
Nobody grows a garden.
Nope.
People pay thousands of dollars a year to keep their grass green and make sure there's no dandelions in it.
Yeah.
Like, I've talked to old guys who used to grow dandelions so they can make wine.
They make wine, or people put them in salads.
Mm-hmm.
They actually taste pretty good. I tried a couple before. But that's the thing. That's the thing with that. No one grows anything. It's out. I mean, no one has any produce.
Think about the people who, like, do you know anybody who cans anything anymore?
Just like my older family members. Like,
right, like my mom does.
We're going to do it this year. Last year we froze stuff and we discussed it and said, well, what if there's no electricity? So maybe we should can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my wife got all the stuff.
Right.
And she has and luckily, I have like your mother I can ask questions.
Yeah.
And my aunt from my mother's side of the family, Aunt Carol,
Right.
she does like she still cans a little bit.
Right.
Like she does like the lazy canning now, she would call it probably. Where she
peaches and tomatoes.
Yeah, where she's older and she don't have a giant like garden. And, like her and her husband used to buy like tons of corn and like can it.
Yeah.
And just everything. She makes her own strawberry jam. It's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
But no one does that no more.
No.
And remember, our grandparents had that coal bin. My grandmother used to fill that up with cans of stuff.
Yeah.
They used to grow potatoes out their farm.
Mm-hmm.
Can that, or not can that. They would can some of them and dry, cellar them.
Mm-hmm.
No one does any of that. No one even knows how to grow potatoes.
I'll grow potatoes.
Good, but like if you would ask someone, like ask your buddies, do you know how to grow potatoes? I bet you 90% of them didn't know you could just cut the damn potato off when it's budding and bury it.
Yeah, and bury it.
Yeah, they don't know that.
And there's winter potatoes that you can put in so that they sprout early and they come up early.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a 2-season thing. So you have
you can do one early
potatoes and then late potatoes.
I think potatoes are a hardy plant where you can plant them twice.
Yeah.
Like broccoli you can do twice, like early spring, late fall. Cauliflower, early spring, late fall. Right. I think carrots you can maybe get away with twice.
I don't know because of a frost.
A frost would probably
they're low. They're
like lemon onions. Onions are
pretty tough.
Onions are hardy. I don't think they like the heat. I don't.
Yeah. I'm not a gardener. I'm not a professional gardener.
Right.
I plan on killing my animals to eat, but I do have a little garden. I mean, it is what it is. But like that, those are the things we should be doing right now because this fall, who knows what's coming?
No one knows what's going to happen. And
we've only spent $12 trillion in the last 12 months. So.
Right, and no one has any. Do you know anybody has any dry food? Like you, other than me and you?
No.
That buys extra. Like I'm looking right at your pantry now, and I see a bunch of dry food. Like just to have. I mean, you don't have to go crazy.
No.
Just have some.
Well, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, where we said, if you eat a canned chicken noodle soup and you're replacing it,
buy two.
Buy two more.
Yes.
Buy three.
Yes.
That's another $1 or $1.50. But that can of chicken noodle soup might save your life.
Good, yeah. I think Ashley sent a text to me and had a list of dry goods and cans. I think canned goods are 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And most dry goods are 5.
Yeah, I mean, even the dates on the cans, you gotta look. But a lot of those are so that date isn't where it goes bad, but it loses the nutritional value listed. So let's say green beans are, there's 100 calories in this can of green beans and it's good for 3 years. Well, when that date hits, that's when that 100 calories starts to be reduced to where they're still good to eat. They're just not giving you the caloric intake that's written on the label.
Yeah, I mean, how many times as kids, how many times we drink 3-year-old sodas, old cans. If you eat the canned goods, it's not going to hurt anything, I don't think. To what's going to happen to you, but right. I'm looking to see what I have here.
I mean, honestly, we should be out buying. You should be getting extra food. Anything you can get extra, get it now. Because looking at some of this stuff that's shutting down and it's not coming online, or they're not telling you. And what we've done in this country is we've sent everything over to China. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago where even the salmon that's caught in Alaska is shipped over to China to be processed and then sent back to us.
Well, it's the same as apple juice. You said that it was 60%
yeah.
of our apple juice comes from China, and they don't even have weather to grow.
Right, apples. We're sending the apples over there.
It has to be because
be made into apple juice.
That's a weird thing. Is I think England and America is the only ones that really have a large amount apples, that area of Europe, because you can't have it's just the temperature or whatever.
Yeah.
But can you imagine what anybody would have thought when I never knew that.
No, I don't. I'm like, I think even like our beef production is sent over to be processed overseas. It's not even used here.
Right. That's what we were saying earlier. Like, at that time, like in the 30s, you had readily available.
Well, I think in the 30s, we were 80% agrarian.
Yes.
We weren't living in big cities. We weren't working on computers. Like, we were farmers.
Right. Well, like, even like our grandfather, I still know where I can get a cow, a fresh cow, a fresh pig. These bigger cities, they don't know anybody.
No, I think I talked about this on an episode before where, like, I had a buddy that was from Philly, and he lived, like, right near the cheesesteak places in Philly. The two big places.
Gino and Pat's.
Gino's and Pat's.
That's Joe's the pizza place.
Like, he literally lived a block or two away in, like, a row house. And, like, we like, he saw where I lived, and he was like, I would think people would crawl through your windows and try to kill you. I'm like, dude, there's literally a guy sitting on your stoop. You don't even know him. He's just sitting there.
Yeah, that freaked me out.
Yeah.
Right now, they don't know no different. That's the way we were raised.
No, that's how they were raised.
That's the way we were raised.
But, like, we have to remember, like, you have got to get back to your roots, pretty much. Put your hands in the dirt. Plant a garden. Get ready, because if, like, this stuff, if we don't make anything here.
Nothing.
We bring it in.
Everything. Because I read that article you sent me. Then I read another article that says that we ship whole container ships back to China with only like 20% full containers.
Yeah, no, well, only 20% of the containers that leave America, I think,
are full
to go back. So every 100 containers, only 20 of them are going back with our stuff in.
Right. So, like, they're shipping everything here. We're shipping nothing out.
Right.
Probably food is what we're shipping over there.
Well, I always said, like, when Trump started the China, tariffs and stuff on everything, everybody was like, they're going to kill us. They're going to kill us. Here's the thing. We send out of here food, farm equipment, heavy equipment, like things you need, technology, things you need to make your country better. We import puppets and junk.
Yeah, toys.
Yeah,
Gadgets.
Cheap toasters.
T-shirts.
Yeah. We don't need that stuff to live.
Well, they got our medicine. That's the scary thing.
That's the one thing we've shipped our Well,
that's India as well.
We've started over the last 10 years, 15, 20 years, sending everything over.
Yeah, that's what's scary.
And, like, I've always said to people, like, what if we have to fight another world war?
We have nothing.
We don't even have chips.
Yeah.
Drive around your car lots. They're empty. They're empty.
Yep.
Because we don't have chips to put in our vehicles.
Well, hopefully this starts a renaissance of new businesses
here.
Like
Trump was trying to do.
Right. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully their plan backfires and helps build back America better.
Yeah.
Like Trump wanted to do. There's one thing here I want to talk about before. I know we're slowing down here.
That's all right.
But we got, the Tucker Carlson report on January 6th, he did about the FBI involvement in the attacks there on January. Well, the biggest insurrection since the Civil War. 9/11. Yeah, the worst thing ever since 9/11. It was bigger than the Civil War even. But you told me something interesting middle of the week last week about Tucker Carlson that I'd like to get out there.
Yeah.
Because it kind of had me mad. Because I like Tucker.
Well, one of the notes that I wrote down was if you think for yourself, you're alone. You need to do your own research.
Right.
You can't, even the people that you think you're relying on, like Tucker Carlson, may not be who you think they are.
Right. Well,
So I read an article on Zero Hedge where it was like journalists hit new low by betraying their sources, right? So one of the big things that we've heard for years is like, you don't give up your sources. We can't.
Right.
Oh, this undercover source or this secret source.
That's the key of journalism is you don't give up your sources. That's like a
Right.
police officer not giving up their snitches.
Right.
All that stuff.
So that you can keep getting the information.
Right. Well, that and you protect them. You don't want them killed because they're doing you a favor.
So one of the things I read last week or 2 weeks ago was that the New York Times snitched. They pretty much told us who their source was.
Oh,
And it was Tucker Carlson.
good old TC. Tucker Carlson.
So he
TKC.
it was a report by Ben Smith from the New York Times, and he was like, the Fox News star Tucker Carlson is our go-to guy for sometimes unflattering stories about Trump or coverage on internal policies at Fox News. So when the New York Times would write a story about how Fox News is all screwed up, well, who are they getting that information from? Tucker Carlson.
Good old TC.
Mr. Right Wing, giving us all the information on everything, even like how the feds were behind the January 6th riots. So this dude's just, it's all a game, dude.
Yeah.
It's all a game.
I knew something had to be too good to be true when you start hearing what we talk about and like the shows we listen to and stuff, and it's starting to come out in the mainstream media. Like
Right.
when Fox News starts talking about things that I've heard months ago.
Yeah, like aliens, dude.
Yeah, any of it. Like aliens. Day 2 after the January 6th, I've heard on, I don't know, Alex Jones or No Agenda or Tinfoil Hat, there was FBI agents involved and there were provocateurs. When Fox News starts talking about it, throws red flags. I'm like, what is going on? This is great. Like, at one side, you're like, this is great.
Yeah,
Finally.
it's coming out.
It's finally coming out. The mainstream's talking about it. And then you're thinking, wait a minute. Why are they pushing this out there now?
Yeah, something's not right.
So what is coming after this? Are they changing the narrative now? Are they pushing something different? So, like you said, you cannot trust anybody. Like, I love Alex. I listen to Alex Jones probably at least 3 times a week. I've listened to him for probably 10, 15 years. I question everything. I don't even know if he's not part of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, when you hear about like all these right wing getting throttled down, but he's not.
Right.
You have to wonder. I'm waiting for us to get throttled down because we're like 2 or 3 weeks ahead of all like the mainstream media stories.
Right. Well, I mean, I think we have very limited listeners, and we are ahead.
We got Germany.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention.
Throw that out again.
Sorry,
listener in Germany.
Sorry about the late mention. We should have mentioned you.
Ding ding ding.
Early on when we were talking about his buddy there.
Nazi.
You probably know Peter.
He, of course, he knows Peter. He's in that one city that everybody knows Peter.
In Brazil. But oh yeah, we have limited listenership, but like the only other radio show, the podcast I listen to, as far as ahead as us, is like No Agenda.
Yeah,
they are really good at being if they did a show every day, I think they'd be ahead of everybody.
Right.
But no, we definitely are good at that anyway. I don't know.
So, pretty much,
don't trust anybody.
Don't trust anybody.
You're alone.
Even when we're talking about something,
look it up.
Go look it up.
Yeah, because 1, I'm an idiot. 2,
who can barely read.
I can barely read. You heard it if you listened to all of our episodes. I was reading the Nuremberg Code.
Oh, boy.
It was horrific. It was horrific.
Now, me, on the other hand,
Oh, he's a scholar.
I'm as smart as Bill Gates,
Yeah,
if not more.
He's a Rhodes Scholar.
I could probably be in charge of vaccinating the whole world.
Oh, yeah.
If I wanted to be. And if I could only be as rich as them, I could own, farmland.
You're not as likable.
Wow.
I know.
It's your face.
Right.
It's punchable.
It
Isn't
is. Well, your face is punchable.
Yeah.
But, well, I think we ran out here.
We kind of tuckered out.
Tucker Carlson out.
Oh,
That piece of garbage.
all right. Well, if he's selling us out, I'm pissed.
Oh, yeah. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap it up. So, if you follow us on Instagram, This Week in Conspiracy on Instagram, we put all the articles we read and everything we get our stories from out on there and some memes and everything. We got This Week in Conspiracy on Facebook. Same deal. We put all the same stuff out on that. We have, please send us some emails on thisweekinconspiracy@gmail. Anything you want to send us, we'll read it. If you have any questions or anything, we'll put it up. And then we have on Twitter,
_conspiracy.
I'll learn that someday.
Yeah, maybe. Or we'll just let her keep reading.
She can just read it. She's
I can read.
Shout out to Germany. Shout out to Australia.
We've got
Keep up the good work. Pass it on to your friends.
Double international. We moved on to
We are
double
2 times an international.
Well, we're also 2-time World War champions, but that's...
Always wanted to be bring that in.
So, listen, remember, always go to local businesses, support your local community. The way we change things is local first. Run for supervisor.
It's you. Change you. Tell a friend.
Fix yourself, fix your neighborhood, fix your county, fix your state, fix this country, fix the world. That's the way it goes. So start for local. If you think you can change things, run for school supervisor. Run for sheriff, run for county seat, run for mayor, whatever. Run for a rep.
Yeah.
So we get some honest people out there. So I hope you have a good week. God bless and peace.
Everything's going. But I think we're the last generation that we were taught wrong. Gotta get a college degree.
Gotta get a college degree.
Gotta get a house.
Get that
gotta
loan.
Get a car.
Get that loan. Get that credit.
Yep. Gotta